Hey Lyceans, and welcome to the second part of our EAPP lesson. Now, since with the new schedule, we have a longer time. So we'll be utilizing that time to discuss another lesson. Okay? Now, in this lesson, we'll be talking about writing a concept paper. Now, you can think of a concept paper as a sort of plan. Usually, whenever we want to do something or whenever we do a research, we do a proposal first and then we do the research. Now, that particular proposal is what we call the concept or our concept paper. So that's what we'll be discussing in EAPP. However, we'll try to make it um, as easy to understand as possible so that you'll have a lot of takeaways from the lesson. Now, what is a concept paper and what is it for? A concept paper is a document which summarizes what your project is about and why it is important and how you intend to carry your project out. It consists of the topic under research, your hypothesis that you seek to approve or disprove, your research questions, your methodology, and the like. Now, the concept paper is sometimes known as the proposal or the abstract. So, meaning to say, this is if you remember your junior high school days, your teacher would have you defend your title and the chapter one. That is basically our concept paper. However, we'll be doing this a bit easier so that you'll have more time thinking, making your concept paper rather than thinking on what to do, thinking of problems and ways how to make your concept paper more interesting and whatnot. Okay, so that is the concept paper and what it is for. Now, how do you create or write a concept paper? You need to consider five things. Number one, come up with a research topic that generally interests you. Now, since you are all divided into strands, now since you enrolled there in your strand, um, we take that you are interested on a particular topic of your strand. So let's say, for example, if you're a BM student, then therefore you are interested in business, money, economics, and the like. So you'll be thinking if you're going to write a concept paper, then you'll be thinking of those things if you're an ABM student. Now, the second one you need to consider is you write down the research questions you need to research and depending on the idea you have chosen. So, let's say, for example, if your chosen topic is about economics, since you're an ABM student, or let's say engineering problems, since you're a STEM student, you'll be thinking of problems, why you need to research or study those particular topics or those particular issues. Number three, develop a research hypothesis from each of the research questions that you have listed. So you have you develop your own guess, your academic guess, or your desired output or outcome. Fourth, identify the kind of data you need to answer these hypothetical questions and how you will gather the data. So basically, your methodology. And last one, identify how you will analyze, interpret, and present the data. Okay, is it going to be like a qualitative study, or quanti-quali, or quali-quanti, depending on your study. So that's a concept paper. How do you write a concept paper? Now, in writing a concept paper, of course, you need to explain the concept behind why you need to study. What is the problem in this particular topic? Why did you use or choose these questions? And why did you choose this methodology? Is it more advantageous this way, etc., something like that. So, how do we explain in a concept paper? Well, we have three types of explaining an idea or explaining a concept in a concept paper. Now, the first one is by definition. Now, definition is the method of identifying a given term and making its meaning clearer. Now, when you're trying to define your concept, There are three ways of definition, or three methods, namely informal, formal, or extended. Now let's take informal first. Informal is done through parenthetical or brief explanation. So let's say, for example, you chose a topic and the topic is global warming. So in a very informal way, you'll be explaining the concept of global warming as um, the idea that the earth is getting warmer by the day. So that's very informal. Formal, you explain by incorporating the term to be defined with the general category of the term and the quality that makes the term different from the other terms in the same category. So it's a more scientific approach, wherein you take the scientific approach and then try to just define the term. Lastly, extended is a detailed way from the name itself is a detailed way of defining a term and is usually composed of at least one paragraph. This type of definition actually incorporates various patterns of development. So you can actually mix informal and formal in extended. You can do a compare and contrast. You can do descriptions, classifications, cause and effect, process, and functional analysis to your explanation. So that's how you do an extended um, definition. Probably you would go the scientific route and then you would try to explain um, informal phenomena. So let's say, for example, global warming. You have the scientific approach to global warming, explaining the terms of global warming, and then you explain the terms in a very layman kind of way. So that's extended. Next one is explication. Explication is a method of explanation in which sentences, verses, quotes, or passages are taken from a literary or academic work and then you interpret and explain in a very detailed way. So if you're very keen, this is actually direct quotation. So when you directly quote from a different source or from a particular source, then you copy that and you try to explain it more or explain it further. So that's explication. Last one, classification. It is a method of explanation in which the points are organized from a general abstract idea to a very specific and a concrete concept. Let's say global warming. So that particular term is very broad, and therefore you'll be explaining it by using a process. Maybe you can do a scientific process or a process of, um, let's say, elimination, depending on the context of your explanation and your concept paper. So there you go. Three types of explaining a concept or an idea. Now, what is the format of a concept paper? Now, a concept paper is a very short document or documentation. It has three parts: the title, um, what you know as the second one is the what you know as the part one, and then the timeline. Okay. Now it has three parts. Like I said, we have a separate title page, and then the next page you may want to write the statement of the problem, the significance of the study, the objectives, research questions, the hypothesis, the preliminary literature or your secondary sources, um, and then your methodology. How are you going to do your research? Now, the concept paper is a very short documentation. Um, it's like a summary of your research paper. However, with the statement of statement of the problem, you need to explain it, how it would be in your research paper so that you'll be able to establish the situation. Also, you'll need to explain your hypothesis, your objectives in a very brief manner. And then the third part, which talks about the timeline of completion of your project and your work cited. Okay, your sources. Um, in the timeline, you'll need to explain why you need, let's say, 1 year to complete your your um, your research study. Now, the concept paper is usually um, 2 to 5 pages. However, for a very massive research project, it would take you 10 to 20 pages, depending on how massive your research project is. But for our case, for EAPP, um, we'll be doing a 2 to 5 pages of documentation. Okay, 2 to 5 pages. Now, since we're done talking about the concept paper, I'll be announcing your performance task. This is a group. This is a group project, of which is 50 points in total. Okay, so what you are going to do? You're going to write a concept paper and make a YouTube video explaining your idea. Now, for the YouTube a video, you only need one presenter per group. You'll be incorporating the following criticism approaches from before in explaining the hypothesis of the topic that you will be researching, the statement of the problem, and whatnot. But be very discreet about it. When you're using the critical approaches in those kinds of situations, you don't need to say, "Oh, I'm using a feminist approach to explain blah blah blah." No, just go straight to the point. If you're a very feminist type of person, then do the feminist route. Um, Use the key questions to explain your concept. However, if it fits your study, you can use the critical approaches as part of your research, theory, or conceptual framework. Okay, so there's that. Of course, you won't be using that alone unless it fits your study alone. You can also mix whatever critical approaches with a main theory that you'll be using. Also, since you will be making a YouTube video, you'll be making a video and uploading it on YouTube. Now, after all this, after you've written your concept paper, you've made your YouTube video and have uploaded it on YouTube, you'll be submitting the a copy. Sorry, you'll be submitting a copy of your concept paper and the link of your YouTube video to your mayor. Now, the mayor will submit your concept paper and your YouTube video links over at our EAPP MS Teams. Now, again, I would stress that there will be no individual submissions. Okay. Now, the deadline of this performance task will be on May 17, 11:59 p.m. That is a Sunday. Now, any section after 11:59 p.m. on May 17, I'll be deducting 5 points per day. Okay? Now, one of the key elements in this particular performance task is cooperation. Now, since we're doing this online, I understand that most students don't have or very little access to internet. So you need to cooperate with your group members. If, let's say, one of your group members are not performing well, then just write his or her name and then open close parenthesis, not participating. Okay? Very easy. Since this is about cooperation, let's say you don't have a laptop or desktop, you can make a academic essay or whatever document that a teacher would require you using your smartphone. I know it is lesosn or it is very tricky, but it is possible, so there's no excuse. What you need to do is download MS Office, of which will have MS Word, MS PowerPoint, MS Excel baked into the application, or just MS Word or MS PowerPoint. Now, with those applications, you can write a document using your smartphone. You can actually make a slide using your smartphone. I actually made this slide using my smartphone, and it looks okay, right? So you need to download MS Office so that you'll be able to participate with your group. Now, whoever has a very strong internet connection will be responsible for submitting um, the video, or will be responsible in uploading the video on YouTube, and will be the one who will present it in behalf of the group. So you'll be the voice behind the video, or the face behind the video. Now, how will I be grading you? Here's the criteria. If you follow the format, 10 points. Content is 25 points. The video presentation is 10 points, and the vocabulary and word choice is 5 points. Now, I placed the 5 points in vocabulary and word choice mainly because um, most students, or most of your outputs with your action research, you were not using certain terms or certain words um, for your action research. Most of your action research utilize a very common word or a very general term of which you can use it in whatever discipline. For concept papers or for academic essays, you need to be very specific and very formal. So we'll be doing. I've put a 5 point on vocabulary and word choice. Okay, so what is the format? Format for the written concept paper is Times New Romans 12 double space align left. Do not justify even the titles. See slide 5 for the following pages, entry, and the explanation. Now, I would stress it again. We'll be doing only 2 to 5 pages for a concept paper. If you want to exceed the 5 pages, okay, it's fine, no big deal. The minimum is 2 to 5 pages. Okay. For the entry of the concept paper, it's on slide 5. Just go back, read to that particular slide and explanation. Now, for the format of the video, when you upload it on YouTube, the YouTube title should be the concept paper title, the tentative title. And then on the description box, you write there the school, LPU-DAVAO, your section, and last names of the group members. Like I said, if one or two group members is not participating, just write their last name and then open close parenthesis beside that, not participating. Now, what are the topics that you'll be doing a concept paper about? Now, for STEM students, since you're all scientific and you're more focused on scientific and engineering, um, you'll need to write a concept paper for scientific and engineering researches. For ABM students, you need to write a concept paper about economics, may it be in business or e-commerce. Humes, you'll be writing about either about art and culture, anthropology, and psychological researches. You can choose either of the three, one of the three. TVL ICT, programming and computer tech, write a concept paper for those types of research. TVL HE, you can choose between health and nutrition, travel, and agricultural researches. Okay. Now, I think I didn't mention this. Sir, how do we group ourselves? Okay, you'll be using the same group in your action research group. So the same group members. If they're not participating, just write there not participating. Or if they have reasons, let's say low internet connectivity, it's not actually a reason, but it is just a difficulty. Let's say, for example, you don't have internet. You can actually text it to your group member, and then you let them copy and paste it on a document. Okay, so that's how it goes. We need to cooperate and work around our difficulties before we complain. I think that's one of the main what do you call that? The main thing that a student would do, they would complain and ask questions excessively. But like I would say, before you ask questions, you prepare first. You think first of your expected responses, or is there something, or is there a solution that you need to think about first? Probably um, you'll be able to and think of a better way instead of asking your teachers those questions. Okay? So before you ask a question, do think first, and when you are at your wits end, yung wala ka nang maisip or ano, then that's the time you ask questions. Okay? So again, that is your performance task. The deadline on this is on May 7, sorry. The deadline on this is on May 17, um 11:59 p.m. Only the mayors will be submitting to me, and all of you would submit to your mayors your a copy of your concept paper and the YouTube link of your YouTube video. Okay, so that is for EAPP performance task. Now uh, you have a lot of time in your hands to do that particular activity. However, while you're doing that activity, I'll still be sending you the lessons every week so that it will help you in writing, and at the same time, we'll be having um, different quizzes per week or activities, okay, for you to learn more. Anyway, if you have questions, or if you're experiencing a connectivity issue, do give me do send me a message. Not before, not after 9:30, please. 9:30 p.m. as I am already sleeping at those times. All right. Now I hope this video finds you well. Stay safe, stay healthy. I hope you have a lot of takeaways from this lesson. And until then, make yourselves proud and see you next time. Ciao.